Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video by myself, Fraser. We're going to try the 737 for the, I've flown it quite a few times now. I've flown it a couple of times on my channel, but this is going to be the first time I've done a voice for it. But we're in the old stock standard Ryanair livery. We're going to depart Bratislava Airport and head out to London Stansted. It'll be a morning flight. This will clear up into a lovely morning day, hopefully. And we will start this up from cold and dark. So we'll get in the cockpit as we already are, and we'll start powering this thing up. What we will do is we'll just come through here. Unfortunately, you can do a lot of stuff through this new tab now to like open up doors and stuff like that, but unfortunately you can't control the air stairs, so we'll just come down here and open up the air stairs, and then we'll go through here, and then we'll get your various other bits and pieces going. One thing I do like about the 777 versus this is you have to wait for everything to arrive, whereas it's great with the 777. If you just click it, just all of the ground equipment just appears, which I do quite like for speed and whatnot. But anyway, we'll get in here, we'll turn on the batteries, we'll turn on the ground power, turn off the head torch, and we can now brighten everything up. Turn these IISs into nav, come through here, turn on the aft fuel pump, I believe it is, yep, for the APU, and we'll get that going. I think that's everything we need. We'll turn on the window heaters, and then we'll come in here and we'll get our plane all loaded up. So go back to our electronic flight bag and load up our SimBrief flight plan. LZIB, so we need to enter LZIB, the airport, to initialize the navigation to see to find where we are. So that's done. We can clear that. Go to flight request, set payload, set fuel, set route, and that's our flight plan done. And what I usually do is I go into here, get that ready, get your altitude in, which we're traveling at 32,000 feet from memory. Now we'll load the flight plan, and 34, but we'll adjust that soon. We'll just set this to 34,000 feet. Activate our flight plan. We'll come in here, execute as well. See, these FMSs, this is all pre-programmed, but it's very easy to program manually if you want to do it yourself. You just enter in your legs, and then you just, I think if you click on this, if you want to do a full flight plan, you can enter it manually through this page here if you want to do it, which is not hard at all. That's the previous flight that I did. But yeah, it's very, very easy to do. Now we'll set up our performance page. So we'll just minimize that for now, but we'll go into here. So cost index is 26. 34,000 feet is our flight level. 241.18, 241/18 into this field here. ISA is -5, so you just from a YouTube tutorial, you'll just add that into here. So -52, -57. Zero fuel weight is 58 point, we'll just round that up to 58.9. And our reserves is 2.1. And that's our performance page done. We'll come into here and we'll load up our takeoff data. Going to take off from runway 04, import our data directly from the aircraft, import the weather. We'll do AC. Oh no, we'll keep it on. We'll do that for another video. And we calculate our speed. So we're going to do takeoff 51. So takeoff 51. Might just do a climb 2. No, we'll keep it. Yeah, we'll do climb 2. Don't know what that does. I think it just makes it a bit more fuel efficient. I'm not too sure, but wind direction is 70/4. And then we need to put our departure in before you can add in our so runway 04 is our departure. We're going to take this TOV, execute, go back to route, go to takeoff. Now we can enter these fields here. Set our takeoff trim by doing this. I'm just got it 1 and 7 set on my number pad, so I'm pushing number 1 to increase the trim. That's thereabouts, that's fine. And we set 146 into here. And our runway heading is 39. And we'll just see what our landing elevation is for our arrival. 350 basically, so that's set. Now we can basically just, what we'll do is our plane's all loaded up now, so we can get rid of all of these we'll turn on the APU to get some APU bleed in, but we can now get rid of our ground equipment, so we'll release all of them. What I will do is I'll just do a landing dispatch just to make sure we are that's set. It's just to make sure, I think it's just to make sure that your plane can land on the runway that is at the destination. But yeah, we'll just wait for our guys to disappear. That's set. Everything's basically all set for our departure. Can now turn on all of our fuel tanks. No fuel in our center tank, so I don't have to worry about that. We can turn on our pitot heats now. Turn on these. Turn on our seatbelt. The exit lights. turn on the yaw dampener. You can only turn that on once everything, the ILSs are aligned. And we are pretty much good to go. I'll just make sure. Oh, and we can now close up. I love those steps. As a kid, I used to be fascinated with that when I used to plane spot at my local airport. I just find it quite cool how it just folds up like it does. But yeah, we are now ready to set our altimeters. We'll change that to the hectopascals. We can release the ground power, and we can remove the chocks. Call up the tug. Turn on our strobe lights. We can also turn on our logo lights as well. And when you do this, make sure you turn off the APU. Otherwise, I know you keep that on, make sure these are turned off, these packs. I should have had them turned on for some airflow for the cabin crew, but that's okay. Make sure those are off, otherwise the engine won't power up. And we can start pushback. So basically we are parked here. We will push back to the left. And we can now turn on the engine. So flick that to ground, wait for this to spool up to 10 to 15. Can now turn on our transponder. Pushback tug's now disappeared, so we can focus on this. Turn on our flight directors. We won't be able to turn on our nav until the flight directors are turned on, so they're both turned on. That switched over now, so we can now start on engine number 2, engage the gen bus on this side, generator. Now we can engage fuel to engine number 1. And we can go through and turn on the data and stuff like that. If you want airports, you can. If you don't, you don't. But it's good to have the constraints on there so you know where the constraints are, if there are any. And then, once this is finished powering up, we can basically deploy our flaps now, set our flaps to 5. That little sound you heard before is the starter switch is going to off, so that's now good. We can now turn on the packs, get that airflow, turn off the APU, bleed and turn off the APU outright, and we can now turn on the lights and start taxiing out. Make sure everything else is good. We don't need that anymore. We are ready to start our taxi out to the airport. our throttle, auto throttle. We can turn on our transponder now. And we're not too heavy today. We'll just take this entry point onto the runway for our takeoff. Turn on the landing lights. Strobe lights can come on now. Oh. Don't need that anymore, I don't think. And, oh, too much brakes. Just enough to keep going. Come to a stop. Take the throttle up to about 40%. Wait for them to settle a bit. Now just push the toga button and away we go. We'll go and engage the autopilot now. We'll just scroll this up to... We'll go just above the flaps up. We can go flaps 2. We'll just take it straight up to flaps 1 if you want. Landing gear can now come off. Then we can retract these landing lights because they can use up a bit of drag because they're extended out at the moment, and can raise our flaps. We'll just go slowly around this tight turn here. I might just increase the sunshine just so we can see the beautiful... That's better. Beautiful landscape of this part of Slovakia here. In the summertime, I need to, when the winds are right, I'd get the old sailplane out and soar along this little ridgeline here. Right. I mean, this is what you do if you're a Boeing pilot. You make sure this heading's always set, but if you're like me, you probably forget to do that half the time. Right, we'll speed this up to 250 knots. And once it gets up to 250 knots, we can just engage the VNAV. Well, I can do it now if we want to. If VNAV is on. And that's us away. Up and away. And we're pretty much above the train. Push that TFC button if you want the traffic to show up. We'll turn on the weather radar now. On our way to Stansted Airport. We can now turn these to off. Don't need those anymore. Anything else that needs to be switched? We can release the turn that to auto for the passengers. And we can turn off the last of these landing lights, and that will be us for the. We'll just see actually what the we might go up to 36,000 feet, eh? Make sure you execute. It's just like when you get the hang of programming these FMCs, you'll find it's very much relative to all of the FMCs. They very much have their sort of quirks, but they will all have their same patterns kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Right, we will climb on out of here, and I'll increase the sim rate, and I'll get a nice view outside, and you guys can enjoy the scenery while we fly over Central Europe. We'll be, by the looks of it, we'll be crossing over into Austria, and then that's Slovenia, I think. That's Germany. This is just divided into their airspace regions, and then we're cutting across through to the Netherlands, and then on to England, the UK. Right, I'll leave you guys there and enjoy the rest of the flight. Oh, welcome back, guys. We're now going to set up our aircraft for arrival into Stansted. We're still a little way, but I'll get it back up to 4 times simulation sim rate. But yeah, this is my arrival that was preset, but we'll use as a bot transition for our ILS 04. So we'll add that to our route, and then we can come down into departure arrivals. Set our arrivals, so ILS 4, Ibit, and our star when it loads, Rini 1A, done, and that's our flight plan, our approach all set up, so we can just go into legs and make sure there's no discontinuities, which there isn't. We'll remove that. We will remove that hold by clicking on this waypoint here, then just dragging it up to here. And that's our waypoint, that's our arrival all sorted. What we can do is we can go ahead and just we'll just see what the weather's like in Stansted. Few clouds, scatter clouds, so we're pretty much good for Cat 1, just the normal standard ILS, so we will use the minimums for that one. So we will wait for this to load, come down here, then we'll set our decision altitude is going to be 532, so we will click the reset button and then scroll until we get to 532. Easiest way is just to hold on to this and drag. Numbers are going up very fast, which is great. And we're basically almost there, 352. And this is me, but I just get this ready for our descent. Scroll it down to 2,500. So yeah, my sort of like YouTube channel is all about showing people how to do, people who are not going to be like, this can go many ways, but if you're wanting to start out and just, like there's that whole discussion of you should start off with a Cessna and ease your way up through these aircraft, but this is not real life. You can just go straight into these 737s if this is the sort of flying. If you are one of those who watches planes on flight rating and you want to represent the exact routes and do all of these cool approaches, you do not need to start off in the Cessna and work your way up. You can just go straight into one of these, and these videos will just give you the very basics on how to successfully fly these lovely approaches and do these flights. Like I say, definitely get yourself a Navigraph subscription, even if you just do it month by month, just so you can gauge if you like it or not, and sim brief as well. And then yeah, if you follow these videos, I'm just doing everything, I'm just cutting things right down to like the very minimum. I don't really go too depth into all of these systems and all the rest of it, but if you want to take it to the next level after that, then there's plenty of great YouTubers that will break this aircraft to the absolute complexities of it, like going through all of these tests and whatnot before you start the engines and whatnot. But yeah, if you're like me, you just want to get in, start flying, and you know, just enjoy watching the scenery go by, then yeah, just if you like my content, then just hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you get what you want out of it, and if you want to go to the next level, then there's plenty of really good YouTubers out there that can take you to that next level. But yeah, if you're someone like me who played FSX and had all those little square buttons you push to do all your navigation, and you never got around to learning this, I highly recommend learning it. It's very easy, and as you've seen with my videos, like literally 3 years ago, I did not know what this was, let alone how to program it, and it took me a good month to learn how to program the default. Well, I got the fly-by-wire Airbus anyway, but I think that was a little way down the track. But I mean, it took me a month to like really get used to this, and then I did another tutorial and I learnt to do the CRJ, and then I found that a lot of these FMSs have a lot of similarities between them all. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? A very similar pattern. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's something else, but you know what I mean. Like the logic, I think that's what I'm looking for. The logic behind this is very much similar throughout all of the aircraft. You just go through, and a lot of these aircraft have their values all preset kind of thing. You don't have to, all you have to do is, all you have to learn is to do your departure and your arrival airport, and then go through and add in your waypoints and your airways and stuff like that, which is quite easy to do. And then your LNAV and VNAV, your VNAV stuff, if it's an aircraft of good quality like PMG, it's got a really cool calculation thing to set all your like takeoff and landing speeds and whatnot. So yeah, I'll do the BAE 146. Their FMS is different once again, but it's still got the same logic. It's different. I'll do a flight into London City with the BAE. I'll do that flight soon and show you how to program that FMS, because it's not that hard, but it's got a few different quirks as well. But yeah, it's very easy to set these things up once you've done a few different aircraft type. It's pretty straightforward, really. Yeah, it's a bit of a gloomy day over Europe at the moment, as we can see, and we're slowly coming up to our top of descent. And the great thing is, if you've got it all programmed correctly and whatnot, this will take over. Like, this will take you all the way down without any problems or issues. Yeah. And I did do a video a while back. I did a flight from London up to Glasgow, because so a lot of airports do have these stars and arrivals all interconnected, but there are others that you need to like vector yourself in. So like in the real world, ATC will give you directions that you follow through this, and then it's a combination of using like speed intervention. So use like, I think they call it open descent, where you set your speed and your plane aims for that speed as it descends. The throttles will go back or whatever. Or if you got yeah, so when you're being vectored in kind of thing, there's a few more things you have to do, but it's not that hard once you get your head around it. But yeah, there are a few airports that don't have this all like connected up, so there's lots of like gaps. So you have to like, just like, if you're like me, you don't really use ATC, or you haven't had the courage to use VATSIM yet, you sort of just make it up as you go along. You just set your heading and you just sort of do something that's like this, but in a sort of a logical sense. You just stay sort of to the left or the right of the airport, just run parallel with the runway, then you come around in, and then yeah, by that stage hopefully you've set up your your height matches with the ILS and you can capture it, but we'll go through that in another video. But yeah, this is a lovely flight coming into, I think we're still flying over, that's flying over the Netherlands, isn't it? Flying over Holland there. That might be Rotterdam down below us, or is that further up, the famous Rotterdam? Yeah, that's Rotterdam over there with its massive port, one of the biggest ports in the world. And we'll be starting our descent very shortly. Another flight we need to do, I should do it too, is the Kathmandu. That's a really fun approach. We'll do that with the 777A. But when you start your approach, you'll forget this, don't worry, I forget it too. That's why I have a first officer there in real life, but you can set these to continuous now that you're starting your descent. And it's all about making sure that little diamond stays on track there. If that diamond's getting below here, you just use your speed brakes and that increases your rate of descent, so you can start catching that. But yep, we are doing all right. If you got any questions, just pop them in the comments section and I'll do my best to help you guys out. Or if you got any suggestions or flights that you really want me to do, and yeah, let me know and I'll try and fit them in. Not that I have any, I'm just doing flights that I feel like doing, so I've got no like set flights I have to do. So if you got any cool places you'd like me to go to, I'll go there. So now we can enter in our descent stuff now, figure out what we need for our landings. So we're going to go flaps 30, which is the economical setting for arriving into these airports, and also too, if it's a busy airport like Stansted is, you want to be going at a bit of speed so you can keep that flow going. But we'll use all of our reverses are operational, import our current weight there, import the weather, and then calculate. And we'll go flaps 2, Oh no, we'll go for auto brake 3. Oh no, we'll go for auto brake 2, because that Stansted, most of the parking bays are up this end of the runway, so we'll go set auto brake to 2. Then we want to come into the its reference page and select copy that data there and paste it into there, so we're all set up for our arrival effectively. And every airport's different. Like I'll do the Queenstown airport with this, because it'll give you a good understanding on what you should do with these aircraft. Some aircraft you need to take control of the speed and just dial down the speed and do it manually. Sometimes some aircraft get away on you quite quickly. But yeah, we'll arm our spoilers. I like to just arm them, because I often, if I deploy them, then put them away again, I forget to arm them. Yeah, we're on our way down now. We're doing quite good. And I don't know when real life when you would turn on the fasten seatbelt signs, but I usually try and do it when I do the landing lights. But everything's looking pretty good. Coming into the UK. Looks like a little sandbar there. Looks like the river comes along there, then it exits out of there. It's definitely your generic aircraft, isn't it, Ryanair? Oh, one thing we will do, I'll just slow this down so I don't get away on me. What we will do is, the 737 doesn't have automatic It's actually set on that, funnily enough, but yeah, these aircraft don't have automatic ILS tuners, and if you're going from the Airbus, that can catch you out, and that can be quite embarrassing when you're trying to figure out why your ILS isn't showing up. So we have to do this manually, set our course to 42, and we can do the same for this side too, not that we ever use this side. 42, and can sort of speed it up again just to increase the speed of this game. And we are now coming into 10,000 feet. We can now just turn on these fixed landing lights. I'll turn on my taxi lights just so I don't forget. Turn on that. What else? That's all pretty good. I might turn on these because why not? And if I remember, I'll turn on these retractable landing lights when we're basically lowered our landing gear. A lovely morning arrival into, well, the London area, the greater London area. I'm guessing Stansted is a bit like that Dusseldorf, the other Dusseldorf airport that Ryanair fly to, you know, the Dusseldorf that's 80 k's away from actual Dusseldorf. We'll fly that to that airport one day, and I'll tell you a little story about that one, that rude awakening. But yeah, I'm guessing Stansted is like, I mean, lots of operators fly out of this airport, but it's definitely, if you're a Kiwi or Australian and you're none the wiser landing into London thinking that's London, it's quite a wee way up from London, isn't it? Don't want to be making that mistake if you've got places to be or a connection at any other airport in London. But yeah, just make sure that's, usually it's just a strike off like that's on the right frequency, but make sure you dial in these numbers and push, you just dial in the numbers and it just loads up like that. And that just sets everything, and then you click on that to change it. But yeah. I don't know if we need to use our, what I'll do is I'll turn off my weather radar. We don't need that. Go to terrain, and we possibly should, I don't know. Clouds, that basically means it's moisture. Maybe we should just turn on our engine and wing lights just in case. On the whole, both the Airbus and the 737, they do follow this RNAV, VNAV descent quite nicely, but there are some places where you do just need to be careful and keep on top of things. I think the Airbus is more slipperier than the 737, but I found this can be quite slippery too at times. It can be a bit of a, you just want to get ahead, keep ahead of it, like make sure you give yourself lots of room to slow down, don't shortchange yourself. Looks like the planes are landing on the right runway, but we don't have ATC, so if you see me getting too close behind an aircraft, don't panic, it's okay. And coming on around, we can now push the magic B button and set our QNH, because we don't have ATC telling us what that is. Starting our downwind into Stansted. And what I might do is I might just engage take manual control of the speed and just sort of dial it down a bit. Get it down to that flaps setting. If that happens, I might need to lower some spoilers to get that speed below again. Now deploy our flaps, first setting of flaps. Go flaps 2. Scroll this all the way back to and we might just reduce our speed now that we're coming around for final approach. Just remember, if you need to use the spoilers, just make sure you arm them when you stow them away, because you will need that. Sweet, the ILS, the localizer part's now showing, so that's great. Oh, it's a lovely morning in Stansted, isn't it? These look like poo plants. That those iconic circles give that away. Right, we can now arm the localizer. And that will capture once that little diamond comes around. We'll have this to the legs page just in case we need it. And then we'll turn off this radar just to set it to the TA only so it doesn't give us lots of annoying warnings. Scroll this range all the way down to the absolute the lowest it can go. And we can start basically scrolling back on the speed now. And now we can click on the approach. And now we're all lined up for the localizer. That's on localizer, that's on glide slope. Lower our landing gear now. We can scroll this all the way down to our 45 as our VREF. Can now lower these retractable landing lights to make ourselves even more brighter. Select flaps 30 and we are now good to land, really. And there is an aircraft in front of me, but we'll just pretend that's not there. And I guess we could take control of the aircraft now that we've got visual. So we'll just do that and get better at my landing skills at manual flying. Disengage the auto throttle, and now we're fully in control. Get the reverse thrusts out, and that's us, landed at Stansted. And we'll take the next exit, I reckon. Turn off the reverse thrusts. Actually, is there another one? Yeah, there is. Perfect. We have now. Turn off this parking brake too. Landed at Stansted. Can raise the flaps now. Can turn off our landing lights, but keep our logo lights on, which they are. And then we want to turn on our APU, get that going, turn on the APU bleed so it's all set and ready, and that's us. Strobe lights can, remember the set ref 7, if you've got a button assigned, push it once, then push it once again so it's on steady. And that's us. We'll now go find a free car park to park her up. Just clear this little warning light here. Cycle your flight directors, turn them off and on again so they just reset. And yeah, that's us. Go find a car park and then we will finish this plane and that will be us. Looks like that plane's going to come towards us, so we'll just make life easier and come down here. That warning light means our APU's turned on, so we can now switch over to APU generator. And you only make that mistake once when you shut down the engines and you've forgotten to arm that. Oh, that's interesting. He's maybe how bent on wanting to... Actually, if this is a... Okay, we'll just use this car park, this plane park here. Oh, and turn off our taxi light. Parking brake on. And folks, that is us. We will now shut this aircraft down, turn these to off. Take this to standby. Turn off this. Disarm the and then we can release the passengers. Oh, it's the strobe light off. We'll turn off our strobe light as well while we're at it. And then we can select ground power now that that's plugged in. And just have one little look around, and we can turn these off. That's us. We've arrived into Stansted. Well, we've arrived a few moments ago, but we're all plugged up now, and we're ready to disembark the passengers. And yeah, thank you for coming along with that journey, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you so much. Ciao.